Bonjour lads, it's SuperGiant here with another one of these wonderful videos. So today I want to talk about who the narrator in Hades is. Obviously the narrator is enigmatic, I don't know who the hell he actually is or who he's supposed to be, and I'm sure someone far more educated than me will be able to correct me, but I want to discuss who I think it is. He's obviously very sarky, he's a massive pain in the arse, and he does make me laugh.
The dead have utterly no use for sustenance, although they try to feast upon it anyway, as though imagining the customs of the mortal life brings them some sense of peace.
I wish I did not know that.
So he's a worthy character to talk about, and someone where there's a lot of leeway to have your own guess. So, to start with, I'm going to discuss who I think it isn't, and then I want to suggest who I think it is. And before you start saying to me, shut up, it's Homer, this video is pointless, I want to say to you, sir or madam, that is very, very boring. Obviously, right, Homer is the easy guess for anyone who has read the Iliad or has an even passing knowledge of Greek mythology, historiography, and storytelling. And so I don't want to say it's Homer, because that's no fun, and I have too much free time today to not have a little bit of a runaway with who I think it is. So let's start then, shall we? Okay, so let's begin with who I think it isn't, and we're going to start with the really, really obvious one, the safe choice for most of you, and that's Homer. I don't think it's Homer. And a lot of you are going to be thinking, ooh, that's controversial. And it's not really controversial because I'm basically doing it to be a contrarian, but also because I think it's too easy a choice, it's too safe a choice. And we like to take risks here, boys and girls, like drinking with Dionysus at 4 o'clock in the morning when you don't know your head from your arse. So, the reason why I don't think it's Homer, I've actually put some logic into it so it's not to just sweep it under the rug. Firstly for me, I've removed it because usually in Homer's work, gods address circumstances and fate. He doesn't actually write about the gods directly, he just links them to the story. They're not the focus of his work, and obviously, Hades is purely a tale about Zagreus, his redemption, and his finding his family. So, I don't think this is Homer's cup of tea, really, or his forte. Homer focuses on the impact of fate and human nature, and he often uses mythology to do it. And he does this in an attempt to explore Greek origin myth and Mycenaean history. He doesn't focus on gods like Hesiod or Orpheus, and he sure as hell doesn't focus on irony or entertainment like Euripides, or hell like Virgil. So no, I don't think it's Homer. And so now you'll be asking me, well, SuperGiant, who do you think it is, you cheeky prick? And to that I answer, A, I'm not cheeky, and B, that's too early, hold on, I still don't think it's some other people, so we're going to eliminate those next. So the first one to start with would be Kronos, Kronos being the god of time, as some of you will be aware. Kronos is a titan, and the real reason he's not able to be the narrator is firstly, he should well be under Nyx's thumb, imprisoned after losing the Titan Wars. Kronos is the god of time and a titan, so I don't think he's available. Secondly, he's a little bit of a fucking savage, lads. I don't actually think he would be available to tell a story for any extended period of time if he wasn't at least fed some children. So no, not Kronos. Next, it's not Apollodorus or Pseudo-Apollodorus, someone who discussed Greek mythology to a great extent in their works. And the reason why I'm eliminating Apollodorus as well as Pseudo-Apollodorus is because Pseudo-Apollodorus is a Latin writer, well out of the time frame that I would like to use, and well out of the scope of the discussion. And so I'm removing Apollodorus and Pseudo-Apollodorus as recommendations or guesses, because the historiography is a massive pain in the arse, and I can't explain it in this time frame of the video. But just know, I don't think it's Apollodorus. In addition, I don't think it's any of the spinsters of fate or the oracles, because again, that's a really easy pick. I don't know any male oracles either from Greek myth, unless someone can correct me. I don't believe there are any, so it's not those ones either. So then, let's get to the fun bit of the video, and thanks for waiting so long for this. So who do I think it is? So I'm going to give you 3 options, and the first I'm going to recommend is probably Virgil. No, I know, Virgil's a Roman, probably outside of the time frame, and to be honest, I don't remember him being funny when I read his works. In fact, they were pretty dry. He's certainly young, although assuming he died and is the narrator, it doesn't matter, and we have a bloody gun in the game, so I have no idea who it is actually, or what time frame I can work with. But he follows in the vein of Homer and Hesiod, and he had such a great influence on Western concepts of hell, the afterlife and mythology, that he even featured in Dante's Divine Comedy. Hell, he's had a massive influence on Western literature as a whole. So he's a really safe bet. His Georgics, which is a didactic tool for farming, focused heavily on mythology in the underworld and gives us quite a window into Hades and the Roman and, to an extent, the previous Greek view of the afterlife. He discusses Orpheus, and Virgil, whilst he was never really funny, could discuss optimism and pessimism, but he failed to focus on mythology, and he does have some historical distance from what I assume to be the main events in the game, which is around the time of the Iliad. So, there you have it, that's my number 1. Now, I'm not just going to leave you there, I'm going to give you 2 alternatives as well. My second choice would probably be Euripides. Euripides was a grammatician from Athens. He focused on tragedy though, rather than comedy, but he was always willing to discuss gods, heresy, the contradictions in religious beliefs, and the problems of the Greek gods. So he's a really interesting choice, very, very interesting to me, and someone I think you should do well to read about if you can. Third, and perhaps the strongest one, is probably Hesiod, the author of the Theogony, and the original boy who expanded upon the mythology of Hades. Hesiod, as far as we are aware, is responsible for Cerberus' name, so it's actually kind of a big deal, and someone I really like and have mentioned before. He's not really funny though, and that's a big problem. He doesn't have wit, he doesn't have irony like Euripides, but he is a potential contemporary of Homer, and actually is a really strong alternative to Homer if you're someone who thinks it's Homer. Hesiod enjoyed his faith, he enjoyed the Greek gods, and he had a particular interest in their genealogy. And that's something that's common throughout our story as we discuss Zagreus' attempts to reconcile with his mother, find his mother, and escape, to an extent, the rebellious household that he lived under with his dad. Hesiod, though, disagreed with Homer on a lot of things, and was not someone who would quite happily have characters redeem themselves. He very much believed that human nature is unchangeable. Obviously, Sisyphus, who does some very, very, very absurdist redemption from his previous character, would not really make sense in a Hesiod story. And this is again assuming that the narrator is telling the whole of the story and not just quipping where he thinks it's funny. So there you go, boys and girls, ladies and gents, that's who I think it is. Obviously, I'm probably very, very wrong, but I'm quite happy to hear from you what you think or who you think it is. As ever, lads, if you've enjoyed it, let me know in the comments and smash that like button. I'll see you next time. Ta-ra, lads.